Controversy tonight over an idea to place computers in cars. This is with the purpose of taxing our mileage. President Obama today shot down the idea of taxing motorists' miles, but it is gaining ground in several states. And as you can imagine, drivers are not happy. Luis Schiavone reports.
The more fuel efficient the car, the lower the gasoline bill, and by extension, the gasoline tax. But the people counting on those gasoline taxes to improve roads are looking at new ways to raise money. One option, taxation by the mile, calculated through a global positioning device in your car that keeps track of your journeys and tallies your tax payment. The state of Oregon has already undertaken a test pilot. Advocates say it's for a good cause.
We simply don't have a way to pay for using roads. We will get more and more deterioration on the roadway system, unsafe bridges, roads that are crumbling.
The idea seemed to appeal to Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood for a brief period of time, very brief.
Is not and will not be the policy of the Obama administration.
So was Secretary LaHood speaking out of turn here?
I would direct you to Secretary LaHood on that.
Actually, so that's
well, call him back. Yes.
But the notion was snuffed out by howls of protest across the nation, especially on privacy grounds. Massachusetts is one state that's considered such a tax.
It's a little bit Orwellian and Big Brotherish to note that you could be driving alone, but in reality you're not alone. You have the government, riding with you, determining where you go, how far you go.
Besides Massachusetts and Oregon, Rhode Island, North Carolina, Minnesota, and Idaho are also looking into the mileage tax. The idea is even more advanced in parts of Europe.
Kitty, even if Congress and the president went forward with a mileage tax, it could take 10 years to outfit vehicles and gas pumps with the technology to make it work. At the state level, though, it might be more simple. Kitty?
All right. Thanks very much, Luis Schiavone. Tonight, the mayor of Chicago is vowing to put a surveillance camera on every street corner in his city. It's a plan that was once unthinkable, harkening back to George Orwell's 1984. But now, public surveillance seems to be part of an ever-increasing trend. Bill Tucker reports.
We are a culture on public display. We Twitter our thoughts, we post our lives on Facebook, blog our opinions all over the internet, often with little to no thought about who sees what we do. But something about cameras in public places touches a nerve. The way for public surveillance in the United States was cleared in 1983 in a Supreme Court case, U.S. versus Knotts, where the court essentially ruled that when a person is in a public place, there should be no expectation of privacy. So, like them or not, cameras are everywhere. Ports, traffic lights, toll booths, city streets, parks. In dozens of cities like New York and Chicago, where Mayor Daley wants to expand the city's surveillance network to put cameras on every street corner.
The more cameras you put on the street, the idea you prevent more crime. That is the whole issue.
Security consulting firm J.P. Freeman calls the cameras invaluable, saying, quote, cameras in public spaces are the most cost-effective crime-fighting tool in cities today. However, Freeman notes they are limited tools, as criminals tend to move away from highly surveilled areas to ones where there are no cameras. Fighting crime is not the only use for the cameras. In Chicago, they're also seen as important tools for first responders.
If we can warn our officers of any dangers they're facing ahead of time, it's a tremendous advantage for the men who are the first responders, both us and fire.
And it's not always first responders or security forces watching the video. At this mall in St. Louis, Missouri, a company is putting cameras inside ads to give advertisers information on who is stopping to watch the ads and for how long.
Now, in this case, the company says they're not storing data. They're just looking for shopping patterns and whether an ad attracts more men than women. As for how many cameras are actually watching us, well, Kitty, no one really knows. And if they do know, they're not saying.
Well, these days people say, well, what did the surveillance camera have? It's a given that there's one there.
Well, of course. And if you don't want people seeing you, well, then don't leave your house. Because when you walk out of your house, someone's going to see you, even if they're not a camera. So.
Thanks very much, Bill Tucker. Well, we'd like to know what you think, and here is tonight's poll. How would you characterize the government's use of cameras in public places? Is it necessary security or unnecessary spying? We're really interested in your response. Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. We'll bring you the results a little bit later in the broadcast. In our poll results tonight, 54% of you characterize the government's use of cameras in public places as unnecessary spying.